And so within 7 weeks, I was able to start eating food, and that puts us in July.
Yeah, and that little time period was wild because now she's got the feeding tube out, so she can start doing things again. And she was doing pretty good. Oh, can I tell the wheelchair story?
Oh yeah, this is a good story.
So here's my wife. She's in the house. She's not doing anything. And so I talked to a couple of neighbors and I go, does anybody have a wheelchair? And the guy says, yeah, I have a wheelchair in my garage. And I go, can I borrow it? He said, sure. So I bring it home and I put it out in our carport and I go and get her and I bring her out and I go, ta-da! And she goes, I'm not getting on that thing. And I said, baby, if you don't get in the wheelchair so I can push you down to the end of the block, we can't watch a sunset together.
Yeah, and this is like a week or so after my surgery. Right?
And so I think I actually pushed her in the wheelchair twice because hardhead over here, she's like, let me walk a little bit. Okay, I'll get back in the chair. Okay, well, I want to walk now.
Well, it was setting many goals. That's something that we all coach. And I was like, okay, I think I can walk half a block. Like, I can't walk an entire block, but I can walk half a block. And so that's what we did. Like,
I gave the wheelchair back. I said, we don't need the wheelchair. I gave it back to my neighbor because now she's walking.
We worked our way up to a mile.
Rode a bike. Ended up jet skiing. A friend of ours gave us a rental property for a weekend, and he goes, oh, by the way, there's jet skis in the garage. And I go, we'll probably do that. She goes, whoa, what a jet ski. And I was like,
I mean, it was like 4 months after my neck broke, so, I'd healed. But I was healed enough. And my doctor gave me the green light. He's like, you do whatever you feel like you want to do. And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to go jet skiing. If somebody's got jet skis in their garage, wouldn't you go? I was like, we had such a blast.
How about zip lining?
And then I took him, we went up to Flagstaff a lot. And so I took him on a surprise date. And we went zip lining, which was a long 3 hours of zip lining. I probably could have done 2, but you don't know till you try.
And it was a blast. It was unbelievable. But you have to go up a hill and climb a ladder and get on the zip line. And she did it though. And I was videoing and taking pictures because I couldn't believe, where we were 4 months ago and where we are now.
Yeah, so those are, to me, are all the little miracles in this too, is that I had really hard things happen to me and God healed me. It was like in a short amount of time in my mind. And the very fact that I'm sitting here talking, actually speaking to you, is a miracle. Because last August, I literally had a paralyzed vocal cord. And I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he's like, you're never going to be able to sing again. I was literally able to talk 10 minutes at a time. And I was gravelly, and I had no voice. I mean, I've listened to myself on videos, and I was like, I look back now, and I'm like, I couldn't talk. If I had spoken 10 minutes, then I would be done for the day. I literally couldn't speak. And so it's very interesting, because even in those moments, I wasn't able to eat what I was used to eating. I wasn't able to sing, my favorite thing in the world, or talk. I mean, it's nice just to talk to your husband. And, these are all the things I was kind of holding on to still. And it was more things that I could let go of and not hold on to as things that I hope in, in this life.
Can I say something else?
Yes.
Please. Think about this also. We're talking about cancer. We're not talking about our 6 boys. We're not talking about our cancer foundation that we're coaching people every day. We're dealing with this and watching all the stuff on the news and all the things going on with coronavirus. This is our 2020. This is our 2020. And the interesting thing about it was, there's a lot of healthy people that were watching us like, I don't zip line. I don't jet ski. I don't go on bike rides and things that you guys are doing. But that's what we were doing when we could. We teach people to, you don't know your limitations until you try. Once you try and say, that's not working for me, or hey, you know what? I felt pretty good. I'm going to keep doing that. I tell people to walk down to the corner and back, for a couple days. And if you felt pretty good, walk all the way around the block. Start out with them mini goals and those baby steps. So we were living it and we were coaching it every day. That was our life now. So when we just sit here and tell you our cancer stories, we still have a life going on with 6 boys, all at the age right now where you don't know what they're going to do next. and a cancer foundation that we started because we knew that's where we needed to be. We were going to help people. If nothing else happened, if we help one person today, one tomorrow, we're doing pretty good. And right now, February is 1 year that we launched Living Hope Cancer Foundation, and we've touched over 5,000 lives.
Yeah.
It's so one more crazy thing.
Just one?
The
Well, I wanted to say, so in October, he started
One more crazy
playing
thing,
my
they can't handle it.
song.
I can't handle it. No, go ahead.
I started singing in October,
Yeah,
so that. is
Her
so-
parents live in North Carolina. They didn't want to get on an airplane, but they said, we'll rent an RV. They drive for a week to Phoenix, they spend a week with us, and they drive for a week back. We had a blast. We got 7 days with their mom and dad. And you know, when they seen their daughter, because of what we've been through, the tears and the hugs were you know, just unbelievable. And as we had dinner one night sitting in our driveway, she starts singing.
Well, you played my favorite song, and I was like, oh, let's try.
It was unbelievable.
It was very beautiful, and my voice has gotten stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's so awesome. I love talking. So here we go. So we ended up, the last part of our story. So we had two of our boys living with us, each of our youngest, and we knew I was living in a house that was a rental, so he had moved in with me when we got married, and we knew that was coming to an end. The lady was going to flip it, so we kind of gave our boys heads up, you know, you guys are going to have to move out. They wanted to as well, so they moved in with their brothers, and we found a place in Scottsdale. It was a rental, great spot, and so we moved December 15th. The next morning after I woke up, overnight, I'll let you tell this part. Here, this is again what happens.
The move and everything, you know, everything was going on. I wouldn't let her pick up anything, but she had to sort through a lot of stuff because she's moving out of a house that she'd been in for 3 years. So she'd sort through it, and we'd go, okay, this goes to Goodwill, this goes in the trash, this goes to our kids, and this goes to our new place. So we were sorting through stuff, right? And normally by about 2 o'clock, she's done for the day because she's going through chemo. Her body's tired. She's like, okay, I'm done. And so, and when she says she's done, I look over and she's on the couch with her laptop still working. So there really wasn't a done. She just wasn't, you know, cleaning the house.
Well,
or
I'm the
moving.
back office. So
Yeah. So she's the back office.
I can
I'm the
sit
front office.
and work.
So what happens is in this move, we get everything moved to the new place. The first night we're there, she wakes up in the middle of the night. She says, I can't move. She says, I need help to the bathroom. And I get her and I take her to the bathroom. And we get back and she says, don't put me on the bed, put me on the couch. So I put her on the couch and I get a bunch of pillows and blankets and I get her comfortable. I go back to the bed and I lay down and I can't sleep. So early in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I go out. She says, I can't move. 911, get over here. They come over. Here's the fire department. They come in. They ask what's going on. She said, I'm in pain.
I couldn't sit up. I literally had no.
Sit up, stand, walk,
agony.
nothing. And so they can't get the gurney into this doorway, and so they bring in this, it looks like a taco bag, you know?
I call it an IKEA bag. You guys have an
Like an
IKEA
IKEA
here?
bag. Like, help us. What they do is they roll you up, they put it under you, they roll you back, and then they pick it up by the handles, and they've got all these big firefighters, and so 4 or 5 of them lift you up. But all this rolling and all this moving, and here's Hannah making the same noise that I made
Like,
when I was on the floor.
Bag is not stable.
Oh,
Back problem. Like, yeah, I was screaming.
And I'm back here. I just went through this 5 years ago myself, and I'm watching the fire department carry my wife out of the house like they carried me out of that resort that day to the hospital. I'm flipping out. I'm absolutely flipping out. So tell them what happened then.
Yeah, so they took me to the ER. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and they don't give you pain meds till they know what's wrong with you. And it took about an hour. They put me through the scanner. And they take me back to the room, and they're like, so, you have a fracture in your sacrum, which is the back part of your hip, the lower flat part, which is an up and down fracture. And they're like, did you know your back is broken? I was like, no, who walks around with a broken back? Sound familiar? So, I'm sorry, I love that line that you always used to say, and I'm like, I guess we both do. Yeah, so, apparently I had broken it probably about a week prior.
Here's the big, I mean, of course it's a huge bummer that my wife is in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of the cancer in her neck and chest and stuff was gone.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing to pick up.
We were like starting to celebrate, like, hey, the next scan, we're done with chemo. We were headed down this path that we thought stage 4 cancer, which her doctor says there's no such thing as an end to someone with stage 4 cancer until they check out, and we're going to go back and rub it in his face, right? And all of a sudden, there's cancer, a little bit of growth in her lower back, and causes the fracture.
Yeah, so this is a good part of the story. That all of the cancer that was all here was all gone, but I had 3 little parts on my pelvis and my hip. So yeah, it was a weak part, a lesion, and it actually fractured. Probably lifted something a little too heavy, and now I know. So yeah, I ended up having a fracture, and there's nothing they can do for you. But I'm laying there in the ER at 8 o'clock in the morning. They finally start giving me meds, and it's not touching it. They're giving me morphine, Dilaudid, nothing is working. I'm just laying there in agony on this bag in the ER, all alone. And they're like, well, we need to admit you, because you can't just go home. We need to figure out what's going to go on. You're not able to stand, you're not able to sit, you can't use the bathroom. So we're probably going to send you home with home health care and get you a hospital bed. And I'm in agony. I can't even think about that, but I'm letting people know. I probably will get nursing to come up to take care of me every day, and we just moved to a new house. So what do we do when we're in a really hard situation? We summon our prayer warriors, right? And that's what I love about our community, our Facebook community. It is by the prayers of so many that I sit here today. And so people started praying, and
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
I put a little teeny message on there. I was flipping out, just a little message. Hannah woke up, couldn't move. I had to call 911. She's at the hospital. Thousands. I'm not talking about one. I mean 8, 9, 10, 12,000 people are replying that they're praying for Hannah.
So, this is around 8 o'clock at night, about 12 hours later, I finally am like, can we stop with all the drugs? Give me more of a muscle relaxer. They put me on heat, and I finally fell asleep. And the really cool part of this story is I have an older sister, and she was like, I was praying so hard for you at such and such a time. And when I woke up, I was like, wow. It still hurt a little, but I was like, my pain's gone. And so I tell my doctor, or my nurse in the room, and they're like, okay, well, let's just stick with what we're doing now. And overnight, my nurses change, and I get to tell my whole story to my nurse at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is awesome. And so that day, I had 4 different doctors come see me. I don't even remember who they all were. It was the house doctor, orthopedic, radiation, and I think the physical therapist, kind of something in that area. Well, the next day, 2 of them came back to see me. I was sitting up in bed, I put my makeup on, I was like, hi, and they're like, wait, how are you sitting up? They're like, we thought you were going home with home health care, and I was like, I've got people praying for me, so it was just such a cool experience, even though it was the hardest physical experience I probably had to go through, that, they got to see this, another little miracle. I am a walking miracle.
So this is, now we're up to 2 months back. We're 2 months from right now, okay? So basically what happens is she comes home, she's got some pain, and she's not taking pain meds. She's like, maybe an aspirin or a Tylenol or something once in a while. But over the next few weeks, here's what we said is, let's not do anything at all for about 6 to 8 weeks because the human body has to recover and see how you feel. So that was the promise between the two of us. Nothing. No movement, very little, whatever. I'm doing the dishes, I'm cleaning the house, I'm going crazy. And then I would go, can I go to the gym for 40 minutes? And she's like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'd go to the gym and I'd get back home because I didn't want to get too far from the house. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? So a few days ago, we get up in the morning, every morning, we make coffee, we sit there, we pop open our phones, and we do a little prayer together. But I look over when she's at the coffee pot, and I see her. She's starting to move around a little bit, right? She's starting to move around. And it's blowing my mind because I'm watching this happen, right there in front of my eyes. And it just, we deal with cancer people every day, and there are different situations for everybody. There are situations that you're in pain or you have a surgery or whatever it may be, but there are situations also where maybe you could do a little bit. And let me tell you something. If you talk to Hannah and Chuck about maybe a little bit of activity, or that we talk a lot about juicing, because you don't have to change your whole diet. We just want you to get something good and nutrition in your body so that your body does what it's supposed to do in the first place. We talk about essential oils. We talk about exercise. Okay, we talk about all these things, and all of them are important. And we talk about prayer. We talk a lot about prayer. And the interesting thing about God giving us cancer is cancer people are pouring into us. And I'll tell them, we've got 5 pillars to our foundation: prayer, love, juicing, essential oils, exercise. And we go through each one of them and they go, okay, Chuck, went to church with my family when I was little, but I haven't gone in a long time. Okay, I understand that. Well, we don't pray. Okay, well, here's the deal, bud. This is bigger. This is bigger than any of us. It's cancer. It's bigger than any human out there. And if you don't have somewhere to give it, then the stress and the worry will beat you down. So is it okay if I pray for you? And they're like, yeah. And so here I am praying for somebody that either is not a believer or that maybe is a believer but hasn't gone to church or hasn't even said, hey, God, I need your help in a long time. And we get to pray with them. And then a few weeks go by, we're following up in what they're doing and how they're doing. And they're like, hey, guess what? I'm walking a mile a day, or I'm swimming in the pool, or I'm doing these things, and all these things are cool, things are happening. And oh, by the way, remember when you said prayer, and I looked at my wife and I was like, we don't pray? Well, cancer's bigger than all of us, and we started praying now, and we feel amazing about it. We've even had couples say, we're looking for a church in our area now because we need that. So the amazing thing about the 5 pillars, think about this. This is really important, guys. The human mind is so powerful in so many ways. So all of a sudden, you got somebody buying a juicer off of Amazon or at Walmart, and all of a sudden they're getting all the produce, and all of a sudden they're spending the time making the juice and cleaning the juicer and consuming the juice. What do you think that does in the mind? When they start fighting, everything changes. Everything changes. This is what me and Hannah get to do every day. We had an email last night from a lady. What did she say?
Can I say that? Yeah, so, yes, she messaged me and she saw me on a site somewhere and she was like, I am so scared of dying. And her end of her comment was, all I need is a little hope. I was like, well, girlfriend, you found the right person. Because I'm like, I can offer you that hope. He's called Jesus. But we haven't gotten there yet. But, I'm like, I have zero fear of dying. I am victorious on walking on this earth. And when I die, I will be with him. And I'm like, I have zero fear. And so I think that changes everything for our lives. Because that's how I live. I I think when we live in a spirit of fear, it changes everything. It changes your whole culture. It changes everything about how you perceive everything, right? And so I have fearless tattoo going back because of that. It's just a reminder for me that I don't have to walk it alone, you know. And God gave me a man named Chuck to hold my hand through this, and he reminds me every day too, you know, just to keep dreaming. I think that was another big one we didn't talk about. You know, he really challenged me when I met him to dream, because I literally like stopped thinking about, like, you know, 6 months from now, what do I want to do? And I was like, I don't know, I'm hoping I'm going to be alive, you know. Now I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah. What do most cancer people do though? They're worried about tomorrow. They're not thinking about a vacation next year or their son graduating from college in 4 years. Everything stops. And when I met her, I said, what's your plan? What's your plan? I need to hear your plan. She's like, there is no plan. She said, normally I got all of these things on my schedule, and I don't have anything on my schedule right now because there is no plan, and I hope I'm around 2 or 3 more years. And I go, Here's the deal. She started hanging out with me. She started coaching cancer people also. And we were sitting there one day, and she looked at me, and she said, I see us walking on the beach when we're 85, 90 years old holding hands.
Yay!
So, you know, the ability to dream again starts out small. And we coach people who, you know, at different levels, different places, different times, but at their own pace. But it all means the same thing. We pray with them. We love on them. We tell them to open their heart to their neighbors in their community and their church that's loving on them. Love's healing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The juicing and the nutrition. The human body needs fuel. The essential oils that help detox the body. And exercise, and it could be anything. We've got people that are going to yoga classes, that are going to the gym, but we've got cancer people that just had surgery. They said, you know, number 5's not on our list right now. We're not doing any exercise. It doesn't mean going to the gym. It means get on your living room floor. Everybody's got a smart TV. Pull up YouTube and type in a controlled breathing class, a sound meditation class, a stretching class for beginners. That's where it starts. So, but the human body needs to move in order to heal and repair and fight. That's the things that we teach. So on that side of it, that's what we do, and that's what our passion and our purpose is to do on a daily basis. And so what's happened also with the Cancer Foundation is 2 people that just had passion to start something said, we're just going to help as many people as we can. You know, and I had a landscaping business in Phoenix, so I know a little bit about that kind of business, but a 501c3 nonprofit, I don't know much about. What do you do at different stages? I don't even know, right? And so all of a sudden, we have a board of directors, and they seen what we were doing. They said, you're on the phone for 6, 8, 10 hours a day talking to cancer people? What are you going to do in 6 months? What are you going to do when this keeps growing? The 2 of you can't do that. And they said, you need to make some kind of curriculum, some kind of videos. So we started writing down things that were important as we were talking to different people. Oh, yeah. And we ended up with about 36 topics. We shot videos all over Arizona and California, the 2 of us. They're only 2 to 3 minutes long, so they're not long videos. So we came up with a name called the Cancer Roadmap Project. 40 videos, because we did do a few in the middle there, like, okay, you're at day 7. This is a review. You should be doing all this by now. You know, where are you at? And if you're not, that's okay. Let's get started. And we coach people through that. And we really didn't know the power of these 40 videos until we posted them on YouTube. They're on our website on Living Hope Cancer Foundation, because these videos are in need of every cancer clinic in the world. You know, that when the doctor diagnoses you and then they actually say, this is what you have. This is our medical plan. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Give you a pat on the back and send you home, and you sit there on the couch freaking out, scared to death, confused. What do you do with this? You or somebody you love was diagnosed with cancer, right? And all of a sudden, Hannah and I, through the Cancer Roadmap Project, became that next room, that navigation, that big hug, that this is what you do now, to get through this journey, to fight. These are some things, homework we're going to give you. So that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, we really didn't know what to do next as far as a nonprofit. So God figured, I'll put some people in your path. A marketing team came out of nowhere. We got a Google grant. It's pretty amazing because it's not like, here's the cash money, but we got a Google grant for $10,000 a month for life for advertising on Google. That's letting a lot of people know what you do. And then we had a marketing company say, we specialize in this, let's help you build this up. We want people to be able to find what you guys do. So that was one of the cool things that happened. We also had a business consultant who is a retired multimillionaire who really doesn't ever retire. He just doesn't need money anymore, but he keeps working. And he says, I'm going to help you do this. So right now we're working with this business consultant to get this all prepared so that big businesses can step in and help us out. They see our cause, they see what we do, just the two of us, and they're like, we want to help you build this. And the building part of it is called maybe a cancer coach that we can certify somewhere in the United States. And how would we like to have 30 or 40, 50 coaches out there doing what we do? Another thing we talked about doing was maybe a cancer retreat where we bring in a cancer patient and their caregiver, and they spend 3 days with us. We talk about all the stuff we're talking about right now, and we get into it when we're with families, and then when they get on the plane to fly back wherever they're from, they're thinking about life after cancer. They're starting to dream again. And so those are some of the things that we're working on, and that's why the donations and the support and stuff has been kind of funny for us because it's like we don't want to ask for money, but it's a 501c3 nonprofit, and the donations are a tax write-off, and they get it back. And so it's really kind of cool now what we're seeing, and the small businesses and a lot of individuals and stuff that have teamed up with us, and we're still a little baby. We're a tiny baby. Yeah. So at this time, does anybody have any questions at all? I don't care if it's about cancer, if it's about, I got some Buckeyes from a friend. We'll dive into.
This isn't a question, but what you're doing is not just for cancer. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's for everybody, and Foster is proud. But everything you said today is over and above everything else, and it just shows what God will do in all of our lives. And thank you.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. All of this. Yeah, for you on social media. She was saying this isn't just for people with cancer. It really is for every single person in this room, because we've all really struggled this last year. Everybody's faced COVID and probably the biggest upheaval in our lives, at least normalcy, right? And so I think all of these things can apply to everybody. And we do live that, whether I have cancer or not, I want to live like this every day for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah. And that was something that I thought about the last few days on the trip here and stuff, is thinking about this, is it's been exciting for me because I came back 3 years ago after my cancer diagnosis, just excited to tell the story. And Susie and Steve and everybody came and we got a chance to hang out and tell the story. And I said, I have no idea where this is going, but I know that something's starting to happen. And I came back a year later because my book had just was published on Amazon, and for a foster area dude that's a landscaper now to be a published author was blowing my mind. And I got to come back and talk about my journey in the book. And here we are a little over a year later, and I get to come back and introduce you to my wife who's going through this journey with me. And now we have a cancer foundation also. And now you guys get to see the progress that's happening here and what's happening to God stepping into some guy's life that's from Foster, Ohio, that's excited about life and that has a big mouth and sets him loose out there. And now we're reaching around the world. We're actually reaching around. And now because of having support groups all over Facebook, we're in all these different cancer support groups and a lot of support groups with just people that want inspired by this kind of a story that can't believe that she just finished 9 months of chemo and she looks the way she does and she's doing what she's doing right now. And it allows people to go, if they can do that, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, through cancer, through a divorce, lost my job, through coronavirus, how can we be productive and how can we keep moving forward? And the funny thing about this seed that was planted in Foster, Ohio in 1965, played football at that stadium out there. You know, this is my family and my friends. Who ever imagined that this journey would continue to grow and go where it's going?
Yes.
Oh, it's saying yes to God every day. So
Yeah. And our faith, you guys, you can't tell these stories and not just give all the glory to God.
Yes. Amen.
Here's something that I had a lot of walks in the desert while I was going through my chemo, the days I felt good, and conversations with God, and was getting answers back just like us talking right now. And I'm not kidding you, it started changing me. And so my story just isn't about the miracle that happened. That is mind-boggling. Stage 4 cancer person, they gave 3 months to live 5.5 years ago. Okay, and if anybody wants to arm wrestle, step up here. You know?
I'll take you down. Oh, you're talking about you.
But the thing about it is you know, I just, I look at this whole thing. I look at the cancer journey. I look at meeting my beautiful wife, my best friend in the whole world. I look at the Cancer Foundation, and I look at, you know, Joe Kelly and Tammy back there that's helped us so much this week. Get this ready. Mike and Tiff here at Urban Woody. I've watched these people do all these things, and you can't plan this yourself, but God can.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't want to turn this into church, but maybe you ended up here tonight for a specific reason. Maybe it was all a plan that, hey, you know what? There's nothing going on in Fall Story Friday night. Let's go hear Chuck's Big Mouth. You know? And then you get to hear this beautiful story about me and Hannah. And you get to meet my beautiful wife. I'm so proud of her and bring her back to Foster, Ohio. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for
Yeah. So
opening your heart.